So, now that there are so many superhero movies nowadays, something that these movies rely on a lot are the costumes. So today I'm going through what I personally think are some of the best and some of the worst superhero movie costumes of all time. Let's start off on a high note and talk about the best. I'll get into the heroes first, and then I'll talk about the villains. Alright, first off, let's talk about the heroes, in no particular order. Spider-Man has had some pretty great costumes in his films. My personal favorite, and this is a bit of an unpopular opinion, would have to be the one in the original trilogy. I might be a bit biased just because I like the Spider-Man trilogy so much, but the suit, in all honesty, looks really cool. It somehow manages to look comic accurate without being stupid or impractical. The one in The Amazing Spider-Man also isn't bad, but I can see why some people don't like it since it does look way too realistic. The one in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 looks alright, but it kinda just seems like the original trilogy version with bigger eyes. The one Spidey has in Captain America Civil War is really amazing. The more I think about this costume, the better it gets. We finally have the eye movement, the actual Spider-Man symbol looks cool, and the whole suit has this whole Spider-Man feel to it. Captain America, for the most part, looks pretty good. I especially liked his suit in The Winter Soldier and Avengers Age of Ultron. The one in Captain America the First Avenger also looks pretty cool and fits the movie's time period pretty well. Thor also doesn't look that bad. They somehow got the look of the comics onto the big screen without making it look laughable. I especially like his look in Thor the Dark World, where they added some gold to it. Hulk, in the Avengers at least, looks pretty awesome, even though it isn't technically a costume. That said, it actually looks as if he's really there and has some real weight to him. Iron Man obviously takes the win, as far as superhero costumes in the MCU go. Every Iron Man armor just looks so cool, and there isn't one of them that doesn't have something special about it. Even though the movie hasn't come out yet, Doctor Strange looks a lot like he does in the comics without making it look stupid. And the movie honestly looks like it'll be great. Hawkeye, in Avengers Age of Ultron at least, looks more comic accurate than he ever has with the cloak and all, so that's pretty cool. Now I'll switch gears from the Avengers to other Marvel properties. Ghost Rider in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance looks awesome. The CGI and animation on him just looks so realistic and lifelike. Deadpool looks pretty badass and comic accurate, although he does look more pink than he does red. The X-Men right at the end of X-Men Apocalypse look really comic accurate without making it look stupid or ridiculous. Alright, enough of the Marvel stuff, let's talk about DC. Batman has had some great on-screen costumes. The one from 1989, even though he couldn't move his neck that much, still looked awesome. Both the versions in the Dark Knight trilogy look pretty badass and realistic, and even the 1960s suit, even though it's cheesy and dated, is still classic. My personal favorite costume, though, would have to be the one in Batman v Superman. I know some people really hate the movie, but you gotta admit, the Batsuit looks great. It takes heavy inspiration from the one used in The Dark Knight Returns, and looks like a great costume overall. Superman also looks pretty great, although some people are upset that they removed the red underpants. But to me at least, he looks really cool, and fits in well with the DCEU. The one from the 70s also doesn't look bad, and what is possibly my favorite one is the one from Superman Returns, even though the Superman logo is made out of thousands of tiny Superman logos. That said, the suit in Superman Returns looks really cool. It doesn't look too dark and it doesn't look too silly, so it's pretty good. Anyway, back to the DC Extended Universe. Wonder Woman looks like a badass warrior. When the first picture was released, everyone was complaining that it wasn't enough color, but I really liked it, and I think now everyone has come around to it. Based on the trailer, Cyborg looks pretty cool, even though he was only in it for like 2 seconds. A lot of people are complaining about the CGI, but they're gonna fix it. The film comes out November next year. The Flash also surprised me. When I saw pictures of the suit, I thought it was big and clunky and didn't fit well with the character. But now that I've seen it in Suicide Squad, even though it was for like 1 second, it looks pretty functional and pretty awesome. Speaking of the Flash, the one he wears on TV doesn't look that bad. For a TV show, at least. And while I'm on the subject of TV, Daredevil's costume looks pretty badass. Now for some of the villains. Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2 looks pretty awesome. The tentacles he has look pretty realistic, mostly because of the CGI and the design. Electro also looks pretty cool. Yes, he does look a lot like Dr. Manhattan, but that doesn't really bother me. And the CGI on him looks pretty amazing. Heath Ledger's Joker is the most iconic Joker look on screen. It was a pretty ballsy decision for the filmmakers to have him wear makeup instead of chemicals bleaching his skin, but they really pulled it off here. Two-Face in The Dark Knight also looks really terrifying, but really amazing at the same time. Also, I'm pretty sure I found out that none of it is practical, which I find really amazing, because I thought it was some kind of mix between makeup and CGI, but no, it's just CGI, and it honestly looks really good. Alright, now to talk about some villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Red Skull from Captain America the First Avenger looks pretty great. I would have never thought an on-screen comic-accurate version of this guy would end up looking both awesome and terrifying. Loki from the Avengers also looks pretty cool. Same goes with Thanos from the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. The Winter Soldier's look is both mysterious and intimidating, and Yellow Jacket from Ant-Man also looks pretty awesome. He doesn't look comic accurate at all, but still, you gotta admit that it's an interesting design. Alright, now I'm gonna switch it around and talk about some of the worst superhero costumes. Batman from Batman Forever and Batman and Robin does not look good in the slightest. The bat nipples, which has basically become a meme at this point, and bat butt do not help at all. And it would have to be the worst Batman suit of all time. The costumes in Fantastic, yes, I'm calling it that, look really bad. They're supposed to look overly realistic, but end up kinda looking cheap. Finally, the Hulk from The Incredible Hulk just looks fake. While I do like the movie, the CGI on the Hulk just doesn't look very convincing. Alright, now I'm gonna talk about the villains. First off, Apocalypse from X-Men Apocalypse. I feel like there was a lot of wasted potential in this character's look. In the comics at least, his design is pretty incredible, and I feel like they could have done something very special with that. But no, he just looks like a villain from Power Rangers. Doctor Doom from Fantastic also looks pretty terrible. I thought Fox learned the last time they took away a villain's mouth. Apparently not, I guess. Speaking of, Deadpool from Origins Wolverine just looks, well, he looks like this. Like, what were they thinking? Laser eyes, arm katanas, Fox, why did you let this happen? Green Goblin from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 just looks lazy. It's like the filmmakers just sat down and said, well, let's just make him look like an actual goblin and we'll give him some Iron Man armor. Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man 2 also looks pretty bad. Like, why is he wearing a mech suit? Alright, now I'm gonna talk about some DC villains. I know I've complained about his look way too many times on my channel, but Doomsday from Batman v Superman just looks stupid. It's as if a cave troll, Ninja Turtle, and Abomination, who also doesn't look that great by the way, were thrown into a blender and this was the result. Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from Batman and Robin don't look the worst, but they're not that great. Or maybe I'm just saying that because Bane is also in the movie, and he looks like Shrek in a wrestling costume. Some other Joel Schumacher villains include Two-Face from Batman Forever. It looks like they got Tommy Lee Jones and just painted half of his face purple. We also got the Riddler, and his costume looks like bad cosplay. And finally, we got Catwoman. I don't even know how to describe this. It's as if someone said, hey, I know we're making a film about a strong female lead, but what if she only wore leather pants and bra? And then they actually went with that. Alright, now here are some superhero costumes that aren't great, aren't terrible, they're just in the middle. Captain America from the Avengers is kind of disappointing. The suit looks alright in action, but any still image of it does look kinda dumb. The X-Men from the original X-Men trilogy is kind of controversial. Even though it does kinda look cool, they're not as colorful as they are in the comics. The Green Lantern costume isn't as bad as some people make it out to be, but I do wish the movie had better CGI because it looks really fake. Alright, now for some villains. Bane looks pretty good, but not really that comic accurate. I know the Dark Knight trilogy is supposed to be as realistic as possible, but saying he is the drug Venom wouldn't be that bad, considering the trilogy already has Scarecrow's fear gas. Joker's look in Suicide Squad does seem very over the top and really just in your face with all those tattoos. But if you take away the tattoos, you've got a pretty cool looking Joker. Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't hate the look, but the filmmakers tried to make him look too human with all the facial expressions. And finally we got Green Goblin from Spider-Man. If I'm honest, I'm pretty mixed on this one.
I like how it looks all armored up, but the helmet looks kinda cheap.
So those were some of the best and worst superhero costumes in movies. Remember to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one.